He never imagined that a simple walk down the dark hallway of their home would change everything. She was there, kneeling, alone, with her eyes closed and her heart exposed before God. Unaware she was being watched, she prayed with an intensity he had never witnessed, not even during their darkest days. It wasn't desperation, it was faith. In that instant, something inside him broke and rebuilt itself at the same time. That silent scene spoke louder than any sermon, any argument, any tear. What he saw there wasn't just a prayer. It was a cry that pierced through his soul, and confronted him with everything he had been avoiding for years. This silence that spoke louder than 1,000 words in a world drowning in noise, where every moment is filled with notifications, conversations, and distractions. He had forgotten the power of silence. But there, in that dimly lit corridor, silence became a language he suddenly understood. Her lips moved without sound, her hands clasped without desperation, her spirit reached upward without theatrics. The absence of words created a presence so profound that it filled every corner of his hardened heart. He realized then that sometimes the most powerful conversations happen when no one is speaking at all, the hidden prayer that revealed unshakable love. She wasn't praying for herself. As he stood there, frozen in the shadows, fragments of her whispered words reached him. Lord, I don't know where I lost him. I don't know when his heart grew so cold, or when my touch stopped bringing him comfort, but I know you see him, God. You see the man I fell in love with, still buried somewhere beneath all this pain he carries. I'm not asking you to change him for me. I'm asking you to heal whatever broke inside him that he won't let me reach. Show him he's still worthy of love. Show him he's still worthy of grace. Bring back the light in his eyes, Lord. Not for my happiness, but for his soul. Because he's forgotten who he really is. ... But you haven't. The words hit him like lightning in the darkness. She was praying for him, for the man who had grown cold, distant, unreachable, for the husband who had built walls so high that even love seemed unable to climb them. Her prayer wasn't a plea for her own happiness or comfort. It was an intercession for his soul. A loving persistence that refused to give up on what they once had. In that moment, he understood that while he had been running from love, love had been running after him through her faithful prayers. The past he tried to bury came back to life. Watching her pray brought back memories he thought he had successfully buried. He remembered the man he used to be, one who believed in forever, who made promises under starlit skies, who saw God in everyday miracles. That man had been buried under years of disappointment, career pressures, and the slow erosion of dreams. But seeing her there, still believing, still hoping, still praying, excavated that buried version of himself. The past wasn't dead. It had just been waiting for the right moment to breathe again. An invisible confrontation. Faith against coldness. Two forces collided in that hallway without a single word being exchanged. Her unwavering faith met his carefully constructed coldness. Her open vulnerability challenged his protective cynicism. Her soft persistence confronted his hard indifference. It was a battle fought in silence, where her gentle spirit became a mirror reflecting all the warmth he had allowed to drain from his life. He realized that while he had been building armor to protect himself from pain, he had also been building walls that kept out love, hope, and everything that made life worth living. Remembering promises he had forgotten, her prayer awakened echoes of vows he had made long ago in sickness and in health, for better or worse, till death do us part. The words that have once felt like wings now felt like chains, not because they bound him, but because he had forgotten how to fly with them. He remembered the young man who had meant every word, who had believed that love could conquer anything. That man hadn't disappeared. He had just stopped believing in his own promises. Her faithfulness reminded him that some commitments are meant to be lived, not just spoken. The emptiness that no achievement could fill. Standing in that hallway, watching genuine devotion, he confronted a truth he had been avoiding. All his professional successes, all his accomplishments, all the things he thought would bring fulfillment had left him hollow. He had been climbing ladders, leaning against the wrong walls, winning battles in wars that didn't matter. Her prayer illuminated the void that no promotion, no recognition, no external validation could ever fill. He realized he had been starving spiritually while feeding himself with things that would never truly nourish his soul. A simple gesture that became a soul's awakening. It was just a woman praying. Nothing dramatic, nothing extraordinary by outward appearance, yet this simple act of faith became the earthquake that shook his carefully constructed world. Her clasped hands became hammers breaking down his walls. Her bowed head became a lighthouse guiding him home. Her quiet faith became the loudest call he had ever heard. Sometimes the most profound transformations come not through grand gestures, but through witnessing authentic, unguarded love in its purest form. The night he faced what truly matters. That evening stretched into the longest night of his life, not because time moved slowly, but because his soul was finally awake. He lay beside her, knowing she had no idea he had witnessed her prayer, yet feeling more connected to her than he had in years. The darkness became his companion as he wrestled with questions he had been avoiding. What kind of man had he become? What kind of husband? What kind of person? The night became his teacher, showing him that what truly matters isn't what you achieve, but who you choose to love and how you choose to love them. The choice. Keep running, or finally surrender dawn brought with it a crossroads he couldn't ignore. He could continue down the path he had been walking, safe, predictable, but ultimately empty. Or he could choose the vulnerability of love, the risk of faith, the courage to believe again. Her prayer had shown him that surrender isn't defeat. Sometimes it's the only way to victory. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit you've been weak. Sometimes the most courageous choice is to stop running and start living. The prayer that wasn't for her, it was for him in the end. He understood the deepest truth of all. Her prayer that night wasn't really about her needs or her pain. It was about his healing, his return, his spiritual awakening. She had been interceding for the man she married, calling him back from the emotional exile he had chosen. Her faith had become a bridge across the chasm he had created, offering him a way home to himself, to her, to the life they could still build together. Love, he realized, sometimes means praying for someone's soul when they've forgotten how to pray for themselves. Some moments change us not because they are dramatic, but because they are true. Sometimes God speaks not through thunder, but through the quiet faith of someone who refuses to give up on love. And sometimes the prayer that saves us is Eon, our Own It S, the one whispered in darkness by someone who believes we worth saving, even when we don't believe it ourselves.